Can it become 5? Okay. By the way, why did you bring up that point about Philippines? When Mansur asked you, who is the only true God, why did you bring the Philippines in? I don't see the connection.
I didn't bring that point up because he asked me that. I brought the point up to show him that Jesus Christ is God. And why he was that, because Mansur said about looking up at the sky and saying, oh, there's only one true God. And I said, yeah, he said that because he was in the form of a man. And I tried to explain to him that via that scripture that was just read, he emptied himself.
No, but I still don't see the connection. Look, if Jesus is in the form of a man, when he said this, that the only true God is the Father, and he is the Christ, who was sent by him. So Jesus, when he was on earth as a man, do you believe he was fully God and fully man?
Yes.
Okay.
But he didn't operate as fully God because he came to do it.
So if he's not fully God, is he still fully God?
If he's not fully God, is he still fully God?
Yeah, because you said he emptied himself.
Yes, he emptied
so
himself.
Either he's an empty God or fully God. Which one is it?
There's a scripture that actually says, right up to the point of death, he could have called legions of angels down to come and deal with the matter.
No, but that's a different. You're talking about crucifixion now. You could have talked about crucifixion. Different topic. Let's stick to one topic about what Jesus acknowledges as a true God.
Yeah. So I've explained it to you. Listen. If you can't understand it by the scripture,
if you don't let me finish the question, you won't understand the question. I
understand it.
No. I haven't finished the question yet.
I spoke to Mansur.
Mansur's question was different.
No. He was more intelligent than you when it comes to these matters.
Okay, good. I agree.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. Mansur's more intelligent, but at least listen to my question.
I need to go and speak to somebody.
Okay, listen to my question.
So listen, we shook hands before. Good. Thank you. He's won the argument or whatever. I don't want to, whatever he wants to proclaim.
So the same allegation you were making against Mansur.
I keep repeating myself.
No, it's a different question. That's what I'm telling you.
Should be able to understand.
Hello, it's a different question. Different question.
Well, I'm not going to
hear my question.
I'm going McDonald's.
That's the worst place you can go.
I know, believe me, look at me.
So you got a choice between discussing the Bible and going to McDonald's. He picks McDonald's.
Yes.
Wow.
Jesus said he is the light unto the world, right?
Oh, you're stuffing in?
No, I'm just a quick one.
All right, good. By the way, are you a Christian?
No, I'm not.
You're not a Christian, okay.
But Jesus said he is the light unto the world.
Why are you discussing the Bible if you're not a Christian?
Because I'm very knowledgeable on it.
That doesn't matter. You don't believe in it.
Is that not a good reason to...
No, if you're very knowledgeable and still not believing in something and you want to use that as your basis, then you're not really very knowledgeable
But you didn't let me finish.
Okay, go on.
Jesus said he was the light unto the world. I believe mankind is the light unto the world. Mankind, we are consciousness.
When you say mankind, do you mean mankind as...
Well, because we're living in a world where, we are inhabited by other animals, but we are the animal. We are the only animal, as far as we're aware, that is fully conscious and aware of our surroundings.
So you don't understand what it means to be the light of the world. You don't understand that?
No, I think mankind...
Okay, what does it mean, that phrase?
Our mind and our capability of reason and thinking and
you use a biblical phrase, the light of the world. What do you understand by that phrase?
Well, what I mean by that is awareness, consciousness, intelligence of the world that we live in. That's
not what it means. Light of the world means a world which is in darkness.
It is in darkness.
Can I finish? I'll let you talk.
Yeah.
It's only fair you let me talk now.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Even Allah in the Quran says, Allah is the Nur al-Samawati wal-Ard, that He is the light of the heavens and the earth.
Yeah.
Yes? What does this mean? That means that there is a lot of evil in this world, and of course there is good as well in this world. But then because sometimes the evil overtakes and exceeds the goodness in this world, so you have a messenger like Jesus who would come down and show the light to the world, because the world is in darkness in terms of its disbelief in God. So your understanding of light of the world as an atheist, I'm assuming, is very different to... You don't know what you are, very intelligent man?
No.
You should know what you are. Come on, you're an intelligent man, you should know what you are.
The Bible,
I use my life experience, and I say to myself, if Jesus or God is there, He would reveal Himself to me.
Why do you think?
And He doesn't necessarily really reveal Himself to me that much.
Okay, why do you think God has to reveal?
You're searching for the truth, then I take it, yeah?
Sorry?
You're searching for the truth, then.
Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah. I'm kind of.
So
like,
when you say reveal
one
to
of
your
those people, that are thinking about life and all that.
They're
Yeah.
thinking at least.
when you say reveal to yourself, you mean you want to see it physically, witness something physically, yes?
Not necessarily. Just
So what do you
like
mean by revealing to yourself?
A profound spiritual experience would do it quite well.
Okay, so you're not.
I would
So
be,
you are. So when you do you believe in God at all?
I don't know whether he exists.
Okay, so you're an agnostic.
I'm agnostic. Yeah.
Okay, so you think there's a possibility God might exist?
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this, because you use a phrase from the Bible, and I'm assuming that is not what the Bible authors have actually.
The light onto the world.
Yeah,
sure.
that is not what they intended behind that particular phrase. But let's go back to your belief, because you said you're an agnostic. I would ask a question based on that. Where do you think the universe came from? As an agnostic person, based on your experience, based on your knowledge?
I know you're using an argument that they've used many times of where did everything come from.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if I'm not fully aware of, I'm not a professor in physics. I don't understand cosmology, so I can't really answer that question.
Well, neither am I.
I can't answer it from the point of ignorance and say, well, it must be God. I can't do it from that.
This is not the job of a cosmologist or even a scientist to explain about the origin of things. The scientists and the cosmologists will tell you how things function, but it is not their job to tell you the origin of it. Now, this is where theology. This is where
well, it must be God.
Yeah, I agree. This is where theology comes in. You see, for you to ask this simple question, where did all the existence come from? Yes? There has to be like at least 3 possibilities, and you tell me based on experience if there are more possibilities. So one possibility is it came from nothing, just popped into thin air one day, all by itself.
I don't think that's a possibility.
Okay, so let's discount that. The other possibility is that the universe created itself.
In some kind of it's physics and cosmology and everything coming together.
No, not physics and cosmology. I'm talking about the universe.
Time and space.
Yeah. Do you think time and space are tangible?
Are they tangible?
Yes.
Well, they only exist within existence.
Yeah, but let's talk about space.
Yeah, space.
Do you think
exists.
space has some sort of consciousness?
I would probably say space is only knowable by that which exists within it. So I would say space doesn't have an existence in itself.
No, does it have consciousness? That was my question.
No, I would probably say, I don't know for sure, but I'd probably say no.
Okay, so if someone or something does not have even consciousness, can it create anything?
If something's no, it won't be able to create anything.
Okay, so the second question that I asked you...
The laws of physics will...
No, that is all within that universe. So the laws of physics come within the universe itself.
Yeah.
So the second question I asked you was, can it create itself? So your answer initially was yes, but then I've given you some more background to it, and you have concluded no, because it doesn't have consciousness, it cannot create itself.
So you're saying something has to be outside of it to create it?
Okay, so now my third question is, someone or something brought all this into existence, and that someone or something has consciousness, has intelligence, and has the ability to create.
Well, I would say that, I can understand why you would think that. But
is there any other alternative?
No, from the point of ignorance, because I don't know everything about the meaning of life and the laws of the universe and everything.
Neither do I.
I would say that is coming from the standpoint of I can't see it's a bit like a magician. When you look at a magic trick, you can't see how he did it. I just can't understand how they done it.
No, it's not magic. It's not magic. Look.
If you understand a bit more about, the magic trick, then you understand how it come about. So my point of view is coming from the point of view of ignorance. I don't know how this kind of universe come about.
No, but I gave you the 3 options, isn't it? Which is the most viable one from that?
Not the only option.
Okay, give me the others. I asked you if you know more, let me know.
One of the other options is that you don't have the answers. And
that's not an answer. My friend, that's not an answer.
It's a mystery. No, but it's a
I asked you for. Look, I gave you three possibilities. Yes, we have disregarded 2 of them, because one is from nothing, that is clearly cannot be possible. The second is it doesn't have consciousness and is not possible. So the only alternative we are left with, unless you can bring other alternatives, is that someone must have created all this.
But that's from the point of view of you can't understand how it come about, because you're not aware of the mysteries of the universe.
Well, give me the alternative then. Go on. Give me another alternative.
So the first thing you've got to do is to be humble and to understand that I can't understand. I mean, if the greatest physicians in the world, the greatest mathematicians can't understand it, then how the hell am I going to understand it?
No, but what does that tell you? You see, the greatest measure.
The human mind is
Wait,
not
one of
able
the greatest mathematicians was Newton. Yes? And Newton did believe in God. So there are many scientists and many mathematicians out there. Sorry, he was a physician actually, wasn't he? They do understand about God. Just because you think or you have come across certain agnostic and certain atheists who don't believe in God, that doesn't mean there aren't other scientists who don't believe in God.
But he lived in the 18th century.
Doesn't matter. There are 21st century scientists who believe in God. So what?
But there's a lot of people of his time that didn't believe in God.
No, I'm not saying every scientist believes. I'm not saying that.
They were philosophers and they come to the conclusion. Schopenhauer is one of them.
Yeah.
And he lived around a little bit after Newton. But the way he understood it is God cannot exist.
But that's what I'm telling you. There are people, there are scientists who do believe.
I wouldn't say that God.
There are scientists who believe in God, and there are scientists who don't believe in God. I'm not saying they all believe in God or they all reject God. I'm not saying that. So coming back to our what do you say? This is one of the scientific methods of basically you look at it from a point of view where you remove the impossibilities and then you're left with one possibility.
So the one you got rid of was the one that the universe.
The universe is from nothing. We got rid of that. The universe self-created. We got rid of that because.
Not necessarily. No, I wouldn't get rid of that.
Why? Is the universe conscious?
Well, no, you don't have to be conscious. It might be the laws of physics and the laws of the nucleus.
Yeah, but that comes after it's created. I'm saying before.
I don't know. I mean, atomic energy has the power to create a sun. So if it's got
atomic energy has the power to create sun.
Atomic energy is what.
So are you saying all those atomic energies which are in power plants, sorry, in atomic power plants, are they all suns?
No. What I'm saying is atomic energy has the power to create.
Has anyone created the sun?
How do I know that?
Has anyone created the sun from this atomic energy, other than the natural way?
It's nuclear.
Because what you're doing is you're reverse engineering now. You're looking at you're looking at the physical laws. You're looking at the sun. You're looking at the atomic energy, even gravity, even all the other laws which are there.
But how does the sun generate heat?
Hold on. Before we get into how things work, we need to know the origin of that. So what we're discussing right now is not how things work, but how it originated. Because how things work, the scientists have already told us all that. Okay? So you can pick up any encyclopedia, it'll tell you the answer you're seeking to about how things work, including the sun. My question is with regards to all these physical laws, they didn't just pop into thin air one day. Yes? So they all are part of the universe. And without them, or without the universe, they won't exist. So what I'm saying is that what originated, what created all these things?
Yeah, I know, but you're starting with your conclusion.
No, I'm not. No, I'm asking you the origin of them.
You shouldn't start with what you...
When did I start with the conclusion? My conclusion is God. That is my conclusion. If I said to you, yes, Mister, you better believe in God because that is up. That would be starting with conclusion. But that's not how I started.
No, but
I looked at scientific method, which is basically you actually discount. Sorry, you do away with all the impossibilities.
You want to believe in God. You want to believe in it.
Did I say to you God so far?
But you want to believe in
No, did I? I already believe in God. If you ask me a direct question, in fact, that was at the very beginning. I told you I'm a Muslim.
Okay, was you put up a Muslim?
Yeah, I'm a Muslim. Yes, I'm a Muslim. I believe in God, and I believe that God exists. You see, that is my belief.
But because you were brought up that way, and so you found reasons.
No, there are many new Muslims here. Many new Muslims.
No, but you found reasons to fit with your. But you got to start with a clean slate. You got to start with what?
How do you know you start with a clean slate? Did you start with a clean slate?
You don't know what.
Are you saying your environment and your parents had no impact on you?
Yeah, of course they did.
Of course they did. So nobody starts with a clean slate.
Yeah, nobody.
I mean, in the sense that everyone is born with a clean slate, yes. But because of your environment and your parents and your friends and your whatever contacts you have, either online or offline, they all have an impact on you. But you see, my question to you wasn't about God. My question to you was about the origin of what already exists. You cannot deny that you exist and the universe exists, can you?
No, but my point of view is I come from ignorance. I don't know, I haven't got all the answers to the origins of the universe, and I presume that, and I guess that you won't have all the answers to the origins of the universe as well.
I wouldn't judge you because I don't know you, and I expect the same from you. Okay? So just because you don't know doesn't mean you have to. You have to basically assume everybody else doesn't know. Okay? The reason, listen. No, it's not bias. I'll tell you why. The method that I used, yes, is not something which is beyond rationality. It's a very rational way of eliminating the impossibilities. You know, this is a scientific method. Yes? It's a very scientific method. What they do is they eliminate impossibilities and they are left with the possibilities. So even if this possibility is something which is beyond your imagination and beyond your understanding, if you listen, let me finish. Yeah. So you're left with that possibility, and then if you have no other answer, then it doesn't matter how mysterious that might be to you. It is something that you have to accept.
Yeah, you're using logic.
Of course, you have to use logic.
The Greeks and the
yes.
So
it's a very old method I'm using.
You deduct certain things, and then 2 and 2 is always 4. Yeah,
that's the way. Yes,
it's never 5. It's never anything.
So this deductive analysis, the deductive analysis, is something used since a very long time. It's nothing new. Okay. So what I'm telling you is based on this same analysis. So you actually look into the universe from whatever you can perceive, yes, and you eliminate those things which are impossible. So the only possibility right now, and look, I've asked you this very clearly. If you have another alternative, let me know. But the only alternative you're left with is...
I didn't agree with your reasoning. You said the universe can't create itself.
Yes.
You said the universe can't generate its own existence or whatever.
No, that's the same thing. That's the same thing.
So you've eliminated that without really understanding that whether that would be possible.
You two have deducted it away.
Yeah.
You deduct.
I haven't. Yeah, you have.
No, I haven't. No, the universe.
Okay, let me ask you once again.
A numerous universe is
doesn't matter. The same question applies to all the multiple universes. So whether single universe you believe in or multiverse that you believe in, the same question applies. How did it originate?
I don't know, but there might be going back infinite millions and billions.
You see, that is another logical fallacy.
Into other universes, I don't know.
That is another.
So your conclusion is flawed in that you've already.
I'll tell you why your assumption is flawed.
Eliminated it.
Shall I tell you why your assumption is flawed?
Yeah.
When you talk about something that goes on indefinitely, yes, then that is not a possibility in science. I'll tell you why. Have you heard of infinite regression?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
What does it mean?
Well, it just means basically like everything goes back and you don't get to a beginning. Basically,
in an infinite regression, would you and I even exist? In an infinite regression scenario, would you and I, or even this universe, ever exist?
In an infinite regression scenario?
Yeah.
That's quite a difficult one. Well, we would not exist? I don't know about that.
If we wouldn't exist, you were right. Actually,
how would you know that?
If you knew about infinite regression, you wouldn't be asking this. Let me give you an analogy. Imagine you want to borrow a book from a library. Yes? And there are infinite number of people in front of you. Would you ever get a book?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I got it.
Okay? So now can we eliminate this possibility?
Never get to this point in time.
Absolutely. It will never happen.
Right, that's quite interesting. I haven't thought of that before. Yeah, that's quite good.
Okay.
You would never get to this point in time.
So now you know why that is a fallacy?
So with that kind of logic, if you want, you're saying there must be a beginning.
Absolutely.
Because that's why we're here
Absolutely.
now.
Yes.
No, that's pretty good.
And there's something called the Kalam cosmological argument. You heard of that? The Kalam cosmological argument?
The alarm clock?
No. It's basically everything that exists or begins to exist. Sorry, everything that begins to exist must have a cause. It's a cause and effect.
Yeah, I understand.
Cause and effect. Because the universe began to exist, because we have already ruled out the possibility of it infinitely existing. Okay, so the other possibility, it must have begun to exist at some point. And because it began to exist at some point, it must have a cause.
No, that's quite good. I like that.
Yeah?
I like that.
So now we have come to a position where it should have a cause in order for it to originate.
So the reason why we're here now is because it had a beginning.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's I can kind of understand that. So
okay.
So now, but it still doesn't mean that God exists.
Well, you give me another possibility, my friend. Look, I said God is someone who is. Look, God is someone who possesses intelligence. God is someone who has always existed. God is someone who basically doesn't. It's not dependent on anyone or anything.
But he's outside time and space.
Yeah.
Right? So how can we know anything that is outside time and space?
How we can know? Because
that's the problem. How can you
by God revealing to you
something that's outside?
Yeah. So you know what is when you say time, does time exist?
Time seems to be a measurement that we use in order to, but I don't know where.
So it's a concept, basically, yeah?
Well, Einstein believed it did exist.
Well, it's a concept.
Einstein believed it.
Yeah, of course. In the sense of a concept, means change from A to B.
He believed it actually existed, meaning that if you went at 1,000 miles an hour
Yeah.
at the speed of light,
Yeah.
time would slow down, and you would be able to time travel.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you can touch time. You see what I mean?
No, but it just means that it's relative.
Of course, it's relative. Yes.
Relativity is.
Yeah.
Time
I'm not
is
saying it's not. I'm saying is that time, according to the
space.
scientists, is a measure of change.
Yeah,
so
I'm
anything
not
that
sure,
changes from A to B, that is a measure. It's basically a concept.
It's a measurement. But
Yes.
how can something exist outside of that?
Okay, let me explain to you. Now we are talking about space.
Another way of putting it is, how would you know something exists
Yeah,
outside?
now we are talking about space. So take space itself. Space is again something that exists, and we know that. Yes? And this is something that itself is a creation. Just like the universe is a creation, the space within it is also a creation. You see what I mean? So everything that exists has to have a cause. Everything that begins to exist must have a cause. So what is the cause of space and the universe and everything else?
Yeah. Well, this is where you're coming back to the beginning. There must be a beginning. But then what people say...
That is a question, actually. That's a
what
question.
people say is what created God, you know, like that kind of question.
Well, we can come to that if you want. Once you accept God exists, then we can come to that. No problem.
You get to that, but if he's outside of time and space, nobody created him.
God created everything, including time and space, if you want.
And what created God?
Now we're coming to that. So now we have come to God. Yes, this is by
that's causal.
this is by deduction. Yeah,
okay.
sorry, by deductive analysis.
Yeah, deduction. Yeah.
So now we have come to the possibility of a God. Now, God by definition is self-existing, independent.
That's difficult to say. That's
Why?
very tricky, that one.
Why is it tricky?
Why would he be self-dependent? Where would he be where did this kind of... It's very difficult for me. You know,
Because now you're talking about the creator.
About it, it's good.
but I mean, where would it come from? I mean,
You are talking about the creator now, not the creation. So for the creation,
you've assumed...
no, for the creation, it's dependent on something for its existing. But for the creator, you know, we have certain things, certain objects. What we actually know it by its attributes or by its definition. Take a triangle, for example. If I asked you, show me a four-sided triangle, what would you tell me?
Well, it would be very difficult to do.
No, it's impossible. It's a wrong question.
Yeah, it's an impossibility.
Exactly. Because you know, why do you think it's impossibility? It's because you know the attribute of a triangle.
Of logic. Yeah.
No, not logic. It's how we define a triangle. So it doesn't matter which language you define it in, the triangle's attributes remain the same. It's a three-sided object. You see what I mean? Now, the question you're asking me about who created God is similar to you asking me, show me a four-sided triangle. Because by definition, the attribute of God is that he is self-existing, he's uncreated, the first cause. Now this is
Who said that? Is that an assumption, or is it just like he has to be?
Oh, God told us that. If that is the question you're asking.
Well, no, that's in scripture.
Yeah.
That's in scripture.
Yes.
But does he? I mean, how would you actually determine that logically? I don't think you can determine that logically.
I've just gone through you with logic. Wait. I've just given you so many instances and possibilities of how the universe must have come into being, and we at the end of that came to, with this deductive analysis, we came to the question of God.
No, it's not the best, because you're saying 2 and 2 is 4, it has to be 4. You're saying
Can it be anything else?
There's no four-sided triangle, yeah.
Can it be
I agree
anything
with
else?
that. But then you've jumped and gone, God, if he's outside of time and space, has to be self-sufficient. No.
Because that is the only possibility left, my friend. Unless you want to go into infinite regression again.
Explain about the regression. If there is not a beginning,
yeah, I understand that. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
But that one is not the best example. I don't know. I mean, there's something wrong.
You know, one thing I've noted, not with yourself only, with many atheists and many agnostic, and this goes on in universities and other academic places as well. Because for them, it is basically a taboo to discuss God. So if any...
No, it's not for me.
No, hear me out. Now, this is something that goes on in universities. So any professor or anyone, as soon as they say that the only possibility is God, they'll say, oh, this guy is a fool, he should be excluded, he should be excommunicated, whatever, yeah? Now this is what the atheists, because what they have done is that any possibility of God's existence is something they will completely deny regardless of the evidence that is present. Now, I don't want you to fall into that trap. I want you to keep the possibility of God open.
I'm an agnostic.
Yeah, I know, but as soon as I mention God, you asked the question, who created him? Did you not?
But no, what I'm saying is, if someone said God doesn't exist, I would question them as well. So if someone says God does exist, I would question them.
Of course you would.
Because
I want you to question actually. I want you to learn from the experiences. Exactly. But you see, once you have actually deduced that the only other possibility is of an intelligent being, of an intelligent design. You look at the universe. I mean, this is a brilliant entity. You see, look at you as a human being. You are a brilliant entity.
You're saying something has to exist outside of time and space.
Well, it can't create itself, can it?
Then what is the relationship between the thing that exists outside of time and space and time and space?
Very good question. One is a creator, the other is creation.
Yeah, but
that's a relationship.
Why would it bother doing it? I mean, these are kind of questions that
would you rather not exist?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I prefer to exist. But
there you go.
Again,
so why you are?
You know what? Sometimes I'm not sure. Sometimes I'm not sure.
Well, that's fine. That's your personal experiences. But what I'm saying is that, look, if you actually look at it rationally, logically, God has given you an intellect and given us intellect. It is for us to think. The fact that you're asking this question shows us that God has given you the free will to explore and to ask questions. But one thing you should not do is that once you have actually got the answer, yes, you should not, and this goes to me as well, we should not bring our ego in, because then that will hinder our progress. As soon as once you have discovered that the only possibility is God, of this creator who's not created and who's not dependent on anyone, then for you to accept it, and all the other pieces will fall in place, all the other answers which you are unable to find an answer to falls in place. And by the way, this is not God of the gaps that people say, yes, because at the end of the day, if the scientists will, trust me, the scientists are actually handicapped and they will never find the origin of the universe. You know why?
If they're assuming that God doesn't exist.
No, not that. You know what is that? You know what is the handicap of the scientists? Time and space.
Time and space is the handicap.
Exactly. So I tell you why.
They're limited in.
Yeah, exactly. Without the concept of time or the concept of space, they're unable to formulate any ideas.
But you're limited by time and space.
No, I'm not. I'm not at all. They're unable to formulate.
You're not limited by time and space.
In what sense? Oh, sorry. In my imagination of time and space.
You're a human being.
No. You misunderstood the question. The reason the scientists are limited in this is because they cannot actually form any thought, or basically even perform any experiments without the element of time and space.
You can't do it. No.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're expecting the scientists to give you answer about things which are beyond their scope, then you're using the wrong tools. You see what I mean?
But you are still assuming, because you're in time and space, that there's something outside of time and space.
Why not? Why do you think that's impossible?
Because you come to some kind of logical conclusion that there must be something outside.
Well, you give me another alternative.
To create time and space.
You give me another logical.
Well, I don't know that. How do I know that there's
Because you see, this is a question that the scientists have been asking all along. The philosophers have been asking all along. The reason the scientists will not get an answer is because when you start talking, look, science is a tool which explores the physical world. Yes, it cannot go beyond the scope, which is the metaphysical world.
No, the metaphysical.
That's so if you start using, science will have an answer someday. I believe in the methodology of science, and I will have an answer someday. Then you're using the wrong tool, my friend.
But okay, a good question to ask is: do you believe maths exists?
Maths is abstract.
Maths, 2 and 2 is 4. Right?
It's abstract.
But it's abstract. But does it exist in some kind of, what? Plato,
it's not tangible. If that's what you're asking.
It exists in some kind of realm.
Look, numbers are abstract. Yeah. So just like the term infinity, or just like the term. Even direction.
Exist outside your head.
Sorry?
Did they exist outside your head, maths?
No, it's within my intellect.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you know the metaphysical exists outside your head? How do you know that
Whoa,
God
You're
exists
asking
outside?
metaphysical questions.
Yeah, because you're talking about.
Do you
the
believe in
abstract.
metaphysical?
You're talking about
Wait. Do
something
you
that's
believe in
beyond
metaphysics
time
first
and space.
before you ask that question?
Well, no, because it might be in my head.
Okay, let me ask you this. When you say in your head, okay, you're talking about your consciousness, right?
Yeah, my mind, my
Yeah.
brain.
Is your consciousness material or immaterial?
My conscience? That's what they call the hard question.
Exactly.
Because
Why
they
do you
don't
call that
know-
hard
they don't know-
question?
Well, because they don't know what the relationship between consciousness is and matter.
No.
Now the thing
Because
is,
they can only relate to the physical
the thing
world,
is-
and because your consciousness is not something tangible, is not something they can put in a bottle and observe it. You see what I mean? That is that's
no. But have you ever been conscious outside of your brain, outside of your body? Have you ever experienced consciousness?
I haven't, but people
So-
claim they have.
Yeah, people claim they have.
What is the point you're
but
making?
Then they're alive and they're telling you from a living person's perspective.
What is the point you're making?
What I'm saying is, until we are having this conversation in a metaphysical world where we know it to be true, we are experiencing things through the physical matter, which we know of as the human brain, the human body, the material world. So how do you know when you say consciousness, the hard question,
Yeah.
How do you know when you say consciousness is not dependent on the brain, the neocortex? How do you know that isn't dependent on the brain? Because
The question wasn't about
because the only
dependence.
experience we have is it coming from the brain.
My
Do
friend,
you understand?
the question wasn't about dependence.
Yeah.
The question was about its nature.
It's nature. Yeah.
Yeah, the nature of consciousness. You are conscious as long as you're alive. As soon as you die, you still have your brain, you still have all your organs, but you're not conscious. You see what I mean?
No.
So that's the reason this is the hard question of consciousness,
I guess.
because they cannot put it in a material, naturalistic world, and they cannot study it. So the only other possibility I can think of is it has a connection to a metaphysical world.
It might do, but I find it interesting that life ends as we know it when someone dies. And when they die, you don't see the body jumping around and walking around.
Yeah, you're telling the obvious. What's the point?
What I'm saying is, why not life, as we know it, human life, be dependent on the body? Because when the body is died, it has an accident or it dies of old age, then the body is not animate anymore. So why shouldn't life be dependent on the physical matter of the body? Because
why would
by
life?
all evidence.
But when you say life, what do you mean by it? Do you mean your physical body?
I think my physical body. I mean,
Is that it?
That's the evidence we have.
But hold on. Life doesn't just mean your physical body. Because when you look at a corpse, there's a physical body, but it doesn't have life.
There's no life.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is that
So-
when that's
Must be
damaged,
something else then,
well, what I'm saying is, okay, put it this way.
Something else.
No, but put it this way: if a car engine is damaged in some way, it doesn't function anymore because the parts aren't working anymore. So I'm not saying this is true, by the way, but it's a good. It might.
You're
be.
comparing apples and oranges.
I-
Sentient with exactly.
When the body is damaged, or the brain is damaged in some kind of way, the body doesn't function anymore. Then the life goes
No.
out
If
of
it's
it.
damaged, it still functions.
How do you know?
Have you not seen a person who's vegetable in the hospital? His heart is still beating. You see what I mean? Look, the important thing is this.
Animals die.
Yeah, of course, humans die, animals die. But what I'm saying is that animals and
Where
humans,
does the life go?
we as believers in
isn't it
in
not
God,
dependent?
we believe in God, and God has told us about the soul within animals and humans, and this soul is what keeps you ticking. It's not your heart, it's not your brain. Yes, there is something which keeps you ticking, because when you die, your heart is there, your brain is there, it's not functioning anymore. Okay, because the soul has been taken away. Now you have died. That is what death means in a theological sense, that your soul separates from the body.
But I don't see any souls. I don't see ghosts.
Exactly, because you're expecting from your
I
physical,
only see the real world and people that are alive.
which is my point I was making all along, that you want to use your physical faculties to see the metaphysical. You can't. You're using the wrong tools. You see what I mean?
How do you know it's there?
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Because of these other possibilities, just like you have come to a conclusion, or at least you have discussed.
Not quite.
I know you don't want to use the term conclusion,
I'm
but
open-minded.
yeah, of course, we all are open-minded. Others, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So what I'm saying is that because you have to use deductive analysis to come to certain conclusions, because without that, you will always be asking questions. You see, you won't get an answer. And because as a human being, we want answers.
I do
Yes,
understand that, yeah.
we are seeking answers, and that's the reason we ask questions to each other. You see what I mean?
Life is short
Yes.
as well.
Now you see, we have had a long discussion with regards to the physical, metaphysical, our bodies. Yes, with regards to the universe, its origin. Let me ask you this. As someone who believes in God, yes, God has told us that there is a life after death. What is your view about life after that? Do you think there is a
of the scriptures and the
no?
Quran and the
You forget about
the Bible.
forget about everybody else. You as a person of intellect, you must have thought of this question. Do you think there is a life or any existence once you die?
Well, the one thing that I'd say to that is Descartes' saying, "Cogito ergo sum," which is "I think, therefore I am."
No, that is because that is existence. That comes into the question of your. Do you exist?
Do I exist? So,
Yes.
so the only real thing I can say from my perspective is that I would believe me, I want it to be true, that there's a God and that there's a heaven and all that. Don't get me wrong there.
Why do you want it to be
I'm
true?
not against it.
No, I'm not saying you're against. Why do you want it to be true?
Because I don't want to die. I don't want to come to dust.
Oh, that's inevitable.
And, to nothing. And I want to live in some kind of realm where I am fulfilled.
I see what
In
you
my,
mean, okay.
in some kind of way that I'm not on earth. I mean, who won't want that?
By the way, death is inevitable regardless of your belief or disbelief in God. Do you agree?
We agree on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me give you a scenario.
But I do want to believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, and I hope you will, inshallah, God willing, one day. Let me ask you this question. You see, at present, at this time, at this moment, do you actually believe that there is a possibility that there is life after death?
There's a possibility, yeah.
Okay.
On a percentage, I would say I'm about 70% sure that it isn't, and about 30% uncertain that maybe there is.
Okay.
So I give you.
So the uncertainty is
a
is there. Yeah. Fair enough. I mean, good answer. Okay. Let me give you a scenario in which there is 100% impossibility of life after death.
If there's 100% of what?
Impossible. Let's say there's no life after that at all.
Oh, and they prove it?
No, I'm giving you a scenario.
Oh, okay, yeah,
so I'm giving you a scenario in which there is no life after that.
Right.
That when you die and when I die, we both perish,
Yeah.
and that is the end of it. Yes.
Okay.
So dust to dust.
We can imagine. Yeah.
Yes, ashes to ashes. Whatever.
Let's imagine that. Yeah.
Yes. Let's imagine that. Someone who believes in God, someone who abides by his whole life believing in God and abides by his laws, yes, to the best of his ability or her ability, has that person lost anything? In that scenario, the one I gave you.
Yeah, I thought of that before. That the person that does believe in God and life after death,
Yeah, and and at the end, nothing
but
is there.
they're going to die,
Yeah.
and nothing's going to become of anything.
Exactly,
Have
yeah.
they lost anything? They're exactly the same.
Okay.
As the person. In fact, they probably gain something in that they at least believe that something's going to exist after death, even though there isn't.
Okay.
So I would say they're living a nice dream.
Okay. So let's say they led a moral life.
Yeah, it's a
At
nice
least that is
dream,
the some of the positive aspect of that.
It's a pleasant dream.
Yeah. And because they ended up and then they realized that there is nothing there, that's the end of it. They haven't
They
lost
will never
anything,
know
have
that.
they?
They will never
Yeah, of
find
course,
out.
they will never know that. You're right, because your intellect and your,
Yeah.
what do you say, your consciousness dies as well. But whether someone who believes in God, okay, or someone who doesn't believe in God, in both cases, the end result was none of them actually lost anything other than their life. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, that's
now
true.
let me flip the scenario
Yeah.
in which there is 100% possibility
Okay.
and reality that there is a life after that and there is God Almighty.
Flip the switch.
Flip the scenario.
Let's flip the scenario.
Yes.
Yeah.
Flip the
So
scenario.
now God exists.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
So now this is the other possibility. By the way, this is called the Pascal's wager. I don't know if you heard of
Yeah.
it. Yes?
Yeah, I heard it.
It's something done by a scientist, by Pascal. So the other scenario is this, that there is really God who exists and there is going to be a real day of judgment, a real accountability after this life has ended. Yes?
Yeah.
Now, in this scenario, we got again the same two people.
Is it Occam's razor?
No.
Pascal's razor.
Yeah,
Wait,
Occam's razor, probably you could fix it, you could use it in this as well. Now, what I'm saying is that in this scenario, again, you got the same two people. One who believes in God and one who doesn't believe in God. Yes?
Yeah, I know.
The one who believes in God and the one who does not believe in God, who has gambled more or who has risked more? Who risked more?
I know, yeah, I understand that. I do understand that. But what I would say...
Who do you think risked more? Tell me.
Well,
From the two.
I mean, the risk is greater on the side of the atheist, the person that
Who has not
doesn't believe in God.
who has not prepared anything at all for his afterlife, because he was, like I said, 70% certain there is no afterlife. Yes,
Yeah,
or
but,
or in some cases 100%. But you see, this is what you're playing with. This is a risk that you're taking in your life, because until you breathe your last, you have the opportunity to believe in God. Hear me out.
It's an existential choice.
No, hear me out. And then I'll let you respond. So this is yes, of course, it's a choice, but it's also a risk.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Vegard and I'm a Norwegian Muslim convert. I'm working with the Dawah organization Islamnet to establish the Deen of Allah here in Norway. I am so grateful to Allah for having guided me to Islam. Sadly, I am the only Muslim in my family. It hurts me that my parents haven't accepted Islam yet, and I ask Allah to guide them. But it also gives me a special drive to work for the establishment of Islam. I don't want anyone to miss the chance of becoming Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ said that the Muslims are like one body. If you can feel my pain, would you please help me relieve it? You are now my new family. Click the link and donate to establish this masjid and share in the reward for the message of Islam reaching the corners of Norway.